This conference will now be recorded.
Perfect. All right. Am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Okay. So I just needed to make sure that you're okay with us recording this, and
Yes, ma'am.
that it could go. I don't know where it would go. I will tell you, I don't have a huge following, and that millions of people that I know of aren't going to be looking at it. But it's certainly, I don't want you to feel like you're vulnerable and that you got into something you didn't want to get into.
I'm
Okay,
totally fine.
So, perfect. All
Thank
right,
you.
So, yes, you're welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put who's talking, and I need everybody except me and Christiva to perfect. Hello. I can see you great, and your audio is great too. So
sorry.
That's okay. So I wanted people to know that I have never met Christiva. Nice to meet you. Thank you for
nice
volunteering.
Thank you for sharing your time.
You're welcome. I have done thousands of hours of remote work and actually in-person work. So you're in good hands. I just need to know what we're going to do is we're going to start with what do you want to work on? Do you have any idea? Work.
What was the last question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I can just find something to focus on. Or like I could ask your body what's the most important thing to do for you. Or you could say, well, here's where I'm stuck and I'd really like to have something better.
I've been working on worthiness. When I did my meditation earlier today, it was a guided meditation, and he said, he did a couple different ones, but the one he did was like royalty, and he goes, picture yourself as a queen, and I just could not do that. And a lot of my meditations have been on either worthiness, self-love, success. I'm kind of off work right now. I'm a personal trainer and group instructor, so of course all gyms are closed. So any one of those topics, whichever you feel.
Right. Well, and those sound like they're pretty much the same thing. It's
okay.
and that's like basically how you identify yourself and the value you see in yourself.
Okay.
And what that. So what you're defining that you're struggling with your acceptance of who you are as an infinite child of God who is worthy beyond any measure. Not because you deserve anything, but because you're a human and there is divine that has created you so that you can get up every day and screw things up and still know there's thousands of forces on your side.
Right. I agree.
So that's where I'm going to go. So, but ultimately what I'm thinking is there's this sense of you not really identifying in your true self. And my guess is that there's some sense of undeservingness. So there's a hang up on what you deserve or don't deserve. And then there's that measurement. All right, so we're going to start with that. I just put worthiness and self-love as my focus. And it's really, I'm talking about in a really healthy sense. So before we start, as we start, what I want you to do, we're going to do some balancing of your brain. So okay. I need you to put your hands on either side of your head. Okay. And I need you to move your hands this way while we inhale. So breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And then one more time, breathe in. Breathe out. And then I want you to, now the next one you're going to do is you're going to go on the back of your head and on the front of your head, those two little nodules, and you're going to lift skyward on inhalation, and we'll do it 3 times again. So breathe in. And Breathe out. And breathe in. Breathe out. Perfect. Nice. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check. I want to check, like, what's your subjective units of distress? Meaning, how distressed is your body and your physiology with the idea that you are. So I need you to say, I'm going to like try to pick, I'm worthy of infinite love. Try that. Just say that.
I am worthy of infinite love.
Yeah, you're not congruent with that. Let's try another one. I am worthy of infinite financial abundance.
I am worthy of infinite financial abundance.
That was actually better than infinite love. That really
I'm
surprised
shocked.
me. That's going to be weak, but it was like, it's not as bad as infinite. Yeah, I'm worthy of infinite. I'm going to write this down. Infinite love. And infinite abundance or prosperity. We'll say prosperity. Prosperity. Right. Which really is kind of the same kind of energy. Because prosperity is all around us. You look at a tree and it's got like an infinite number of leaves. Leaves are just everywhere. There's abundance and prosperity all around us. It's a natural state. All right, but you're like really not too good with the infinite love. So I'm going to say on a level of 1 to 10, where is your subjective units of distress with I am worthy of infinite love, distress?
I guess if you're talking about like God's love, I totally believe God loves me infinitely. When we're talking about humans, it's a whole nother. I think that's where my more hiccup is.
Well, and I feel like you don't feel worthy is the problem. So right. You're feeling unworthy, even with God. Like, I believe God infinitely loves me, but I don't know if I'm actually worthy of that love. Because if you really could take in God's love, you should be able to take in people love. Like, if I believe I'm worthy of that love, and really, it's a different, it's different. And it may be, what I'm thinking is, you may feel that you're worthy because of God's love, but then when it comes to people, it falls into the deserving category. Like, God says I don't have to earn it, but people say I do.
Right.
So that's that whole deserving, the whole conflict of deserving and worthiness. So subjective units of distress with I'm worthy of infinite love. And, I'll throw in I'm worthy of infinite love. I hate, it's so, I want to be more specific than all the people in the world. I'm worthy of infinite love all around me. No, I'm worthy of infinite love. And infinite love can be hard from humans anyway. So I'm worthy of love, healthy love from people I love. No. I'm worthy of healthy love from people who love me. Yeah. So if people love me, but I don't necessarily love them, then somehow that's what I'm getting. I'm getting from people who love me, but I don't really love them. So it's the person who says, how come the guy I'm crazy about never likes me, but the one I don't like is all over me? So you've got a couple things going on here. So let me ask if there's any subjective units of elation when I am worthy of infinite love. That's also like, you can't really draw a picture of infinite love. So I'm going to say I am worthy of love from people I love. No. Yeah. So, this is a good one. I'm worthy. I got to write that. I'm worthy because you're in a loop here. I'm worthy of love from people I love. So it means that as soon as you're in a relationship where you love someone, you start to feel like they don't love you back. I'm giving everything and they're not giving me back. I'm not worthy. My love hasn't been enough for them. And even though I love them with everything, they don't give it back to me.
Right.
So so love becomes kind of uncomfortable because, and then the people who love me, who are ready to love me they may be people who hurt me, so I don't want them around. So you're seeing people who love you as people who are toxic, and people you love they just use you and they don't give anything back, is what
Seems that way.
All right, so based on I'm worthy of love from people I love not being okay. Like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of love from people I love, which is really a big fat excuse you're giving people you love. You're giving them an excuse why they don't give back to you is because you're not worthy.
Right.
So it's the way you hang on to them. You don't want to lose the relationship. So it's like, I will just blame myself for their inaction of loving me and ability to contribute to me. I will blame myself and I'll spend lots of time trying to figure out how I can meet whatever it is they want me to meet so that then I will be worthy of their love. And the love that I have for them will be now requited because they'll return it back to me. This is an exhausting pattern.
Help me.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask what stage of healing you're in. Yeah. Is it stage 1, 2, 3, 4? Stage 4. Okay. So stage 4 is depression. So, and it really, what it means is I'm stuck. This situation that I seem to run into with people happens over and over. And even when I love more, I still find that I feel like they have used it and they still haven't given me back what I hoped I would get from them. So, and it may be even in your business that could happen where I'm over giving and then people still don't value me, or they want more instead of just appreciating what I had to give. So there's this, and I actually feel like you very easily overgive in your business because you don't want to feel like you're unworthy. So I believe that if I overgive, I won't have to feel this unworthiness. But it doesn't matter because even when you overgive, you have people stepping into that place that don't appreciate and value you as much as you should be appreciated and valued. And you know it.
Right.
And you still exhaust yourself trying to overgive, trying to be the one who's responsible for their failure. So I'm going to ask, let's see, can I show up for this? Can I pay attention? Can I tell the truth? Can I let go? Hey. All right, so I'm going to ask, is there an original time where you learned to operate in this pattern? And yes, is it conception to birth, 5, 5 to 10, age 5? 5? Yeah, age 5. And so think about age 5. And I'm just checking areas on my body, which I would normally check areas on you. So age 5, and I go over to the liver, and is it anger, resentment, frustration, your frustration, somebody else's, your frustration with a friend, family, dad. My frustration with dad when I'm 5. Do you know why?
Frustration with whom?
Dad. Do you have just one dad, or did you have
Yes.
stepdads? Or so when you were 5, was it a stepdad?
Just one dad.
Just one.
Yes.
Was he around?
Was he what?
Was he there when you were 5?
Yes, yes.
So
I don't.
This is your. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this is your frustration at age 5 and it's with dad. So what was your relationship with him then? Was it like, no, it was good? Or was it he worked all the time and mom was the main person?
It was, my dad grew up in the Depression, and he never had much, and he did not express his feelings. Like, I can only remember my dad telling me he loved me once in a church service on Father's Day, where the pastor said, tell your children that you love them. And then, of course, on his deathbed, he told us all that he loved us. But those are the only 2 times I remember. But I also will say that my dad would give me the shirt off his back if I needed it. Gave me money all the time. Not that he had a lot, but, you know, especially after I was married, when we were struggling so much at the beginning. So
he was very, very generous, even though he kind of had an open poverty mentality.
Right.
So that's pretty interesting. I mean, so what you just told me was he never really had anything, but he overgave.
Well, yeah, he didn't acquire or didn't make a whole lot of money. The last half of our life, you know, he made enough, you know, to meet the needs. And then I think he tried to maybe make up for the lack when we were little at the end of his life.
But he would give you anything, even when he was poor.
Yes.
Like, he was actually, like, he didn't have a lot, but he would give everything that he could give.
Right. But there was no,
there,
even the what? I'm sorry?
He would even like shortchange himself in his sense of poverty. He would shortchange himself to give to somebody else.
Probably. I don't know all of his details, but I could see that.
And I'm only saying that because where we started here was that you overgive in relationships and then feel unworthy.
Right.
So it's real similar to your dad, the description of your dad in general.
Right.
Where he
except that I'm very vocal on affection to friends, clients, family, where he could not, or had some block where he couldn't share affirmation.
His words.
Yes.
Well, and here's the thing though, he overgave things, but not the words of love.
Correct.
Which is where we started. I'm not congruent with feeling worthy of love from people I love. So right. This is saying that I never felt worthy of what he gave me, because I was waiting for something to come from him that he didn't say except twice that I can remember.
Right.
So, so I think we're right on the right place. So when you were 5, did he give you anything when you were 5 that you remember?
Not specifically something.
No.
No.
Or did anything happen at age 5 that he, like, you felt frustrated with something that happened with him when you were 5? And I mean, did he tell somebody else that he loved them and then not tell you?
He was more affectionate with my younger sister, but then I said I was very affectionate with friends and family now, and even probably clients and different things, but maybe when I was a kid, I was a little more reserved, and my sister was very outspoken, and, you know, she wanted to sit on daddy's lap, she'd just crawl and sit on daddy's lap and would not wait for him to ask for her to come on up, or, you know, whatever. So maybe.
And how old was she when you were 5?
3.
Okay. So this would have been, like, your frustration might have been that I don't, like well, I'll just ask, is it my frustration? Does it have to do with the baby? What's your sister's name?
Rhonda.
Rhonda. Okay. Rhonda. Okay. So this is age 5 and so it does have to do with Rhonda. Age 5, I feel frustrated with Dad because I'm thinking because he gives more attention to Rhonda. That'd be my guess.
Probably.
I mean,
but not because he, like, I don't think he favored her. I think she just was able to get the attention she needed where I didn't force it.
right. But when you were 5, did you know that that's why it was happening, or did you feel like he favored?
Oh, probably not then. It wasn't until later that I could recognize that. Or I do remember at some point my mom explaining that, well, she just, she just hugs him. She just goes after what she wants, and you're just waiting for him to give it.
Yeah. Wow. So it was you were the one, it was your fault that you didn't get that from him.
That's what I got from my mother. Yes.
Right. So that was part of your story then. Like, I just want my dad to love me too. I'm not sure how to do that. But then when I talk, then I'm told by somebody that it's my fault that it goes down that way. But you had to have been uncomfortable with it for your mom to even tell you a story about it.
Right. Exactly.
You had to have been like, it's not fair. Like, why doesn't that? Because
Right.
otherwise she would have said to you, well, your sister does this, and if you just did this, but what she did was she kind of, instead of saying, I'm sorry that you feel that way about your dad, he
Right.
really loves you,
Right.
she said, it's your fault because you haven't done enough.
Right.
You haven't overgiven like your sister.
Right.
Yeah. So that's another thing. It's like, oh gosh, okay. Whew. All right, so I need, let's see, any other emotions? Yay, it's just frustration. So I'm
Okay.
thinking that you feel frustration in this sense of, why am I struggling to feel worthy? Why am I struggling to, feel good about people, like in relationships where people really love me, that I'm worthy of love from people I love, but it doesn't, something's uncomfortable about it. Like, it either gets sabotaged, something happens. And then it translates probably into the whole poverty thing of your dad. So I'm thinking that there's a connection because of your dad's kind of identification with poverty consciousness for so much of his life.
Right.
Even though he obviously held incredible generosity, and a lot of people could have said he overgave stuff, but he didn't overgive what you really wanted from him, which was love, the words, attention. That stuff was free, but he didn't give that away as easily as he did the stuff that cost a lot for him. Which means he really didn't think that the love he had to give was worth anything. Which is what that's the unworthiness. He did not believe that the love he had to give was worth anything. So he overgave a bunch of stuff and didn't bother saying, I love you, and giving attention, because he didn't value that. He didn't think anybody else did either.
Right.
So, all right, so this is frustration. And I need you to put, let's see, red and red. You're going to put a hand on your liver, like a hand just right here. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see. Right under your right breast.
Right.
So are you?
Okay.
You're under your right breast. Yeah, yeah, and then a little higher up. So right on your rib cage. Right. And then I want you to take and put your hand. These are just magnet covers, but if I had you with magnets, I could do. So I need you to hold your hand over your forehead, and you're going to take your hands on either side, and you're going to, okay, so I want you to think about the frustration that my dad was willing to give what I thought was really valuable, he would give that to my sister, but I didn't get it from him, and I had to settle for the things. And then my mom told me it was really my fault because I didn't go out of my way like she did. So I need you to breathe in. As you breathe in, squeeze your head together. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. And breathe in. Woo. Okay. And then now, are there any other emotions and forgiveness? And is it phase 1, phase 2? Oh, I love it. You check out. Okay, so your phase trauma. And I'm going to ask if this was phase 2 trauma. Was it something at phase 2 trauma? Is it at age 5? Did you have any like bike wrecks or anything at age 5? Like anything that you broke an arm or got hurt that was significant that you remember?
Never broken any bones. The only thing that's actually bothering me lately, because I've been running a lot, I hit, let's just say I injured my left foot.
When you were 5?
Probably around that age. I don't know specifically.
Do you remember injuring it?
I remember injuring it when I was young, and now it still bothers me some.
Do you know how you injured it?
Yes.
What did you do? That's part of what we're doing here. So, yeah.
It sounds so redneck. So my dad had a mole trap, maybe it was. It had some prongs and it had like a sharp end, and I was probably running and my foot hit that, and it just didn't heal correctly.
So you hit a mole trap that your dad had set.
I had left
And
out.
When you hurt your foot, because you were just running through the yard, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So once you hurt it, like who helped you?
I don't really remember any details about that, honestly.
So you really hurt it bad. Because you can't even remember who helped you.
Either I hurt it really bad or I didn't hurt it enough. I mean, you could still see the difference between my feet, but I don't really remember who was. I don't remember which parent was there or.
Okay, well that goes along with the reason I asked you if you had some kind of an injury is because I got that in order that what you do is you check out. So you disassociate, which is called like a functional disassociation, and you just checked out when you hurt your foot. And you checked out sufficiently that you don't even remember who helped you, even though you were 5 and there's no way you did it yourself.
Right.
Someone had to come in and help you.
Right.
So there's this checkout. So I'm thinking my frustration is, and it has to do with Dad. My frustration is Dad is the one who set that up. Like it was his thing that hurt me.
Oh.
My frustration is, my dad, his trap, his mole trap is what I got hurt by. And my frustration is probably that I feel like maybe he's blaming you, or he's just frustrated. Is it who helped you? I feel like he's the one who helped you, but he didn't. Like it was like you were frustrated because I wanted somebody to show me a little compassion, and instead he was probably frustrated.
Maybe.
Because here's what I think. I mean, and I can muscle test it. I think that he already had such a low self-worth, and now he has caused an injury to his daughter.
Oh.
So now he doesn't deserve any love from you at all because you have now sustained damage thanks to his failure to keep you safe.
That makes sense.
Because he's got this trap that obviously hurt you enough that you still have this woundedness from it. You still hurt there.
Right. Yeah.
How often does that hurt?
For years, it didn't hurt at all. I became a social dancer, and wearing dance shoes, I started noticing it. And then being a personal trainer, I'm on my feet and teaching classes on my feet. And so the more I'm on my feet, the more I notice it, coupled with the dancing.
So, but it didn't hurt for a long time.
Correct.
But you love dancing.
Yes.
But you're a trainer, right? So you're like in
Yes.
great shape, but that ankle talks to you and makes you know when you've done too much.
Right. Exactly.
Wow. Do you even remember how long it took to heal that ankle? Sprained
No.
it? You don't
It's
even
just
remember
on
if
the.
they wrapped,
I don't remember what.
if they wrapped it.
No, it's just the first joint right below your big toe. It's not the ankle, it's just that joint right there. So very hard to wrap or
Oh, yeah.
bandage.
But that means you were probably hobbling around for a little while.
Probably, yeah.
So it's a big toe injury, which you got to use your toes to dance.
Yes, ma'am. And everything.
All right. Okay. So I need you to, I want you to, because both sides of your brain are disassociated, I need you to kind of just tap on your head while we're doing statements. So
Okay.
you'll feel like it's silly, but it's a way of getting your brain to stay in there instead of disassociating from the pain. So here's what I think too. When you're dancing,
Yes.
you actually show up and you come into your body. You don't do that disassociated. And that's why that toe hurts. Because you can't checked out. You have to kind of pay attention.
Right.
Because you're working in cooperation with another dancer.
Right.
So it's something you do that forces you out of your disassociative state and you come into your body. When you come into your body, your toe starts, hey, remember when that happened?
Right.
So is your toe, like, can you make it hurt?
Yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad can you make it hurt just right now?
Probably maybe a 3 or 4.
Well, that's not too bad. So it can get as high as a 10 though?
I would say that if we dance for let's just say several hours, I would say it would be maybe a 7 at the end of all of that.
How long does it take it to calm down?
So social dancing usually happens at night, so it's usually, by the next morning. It's a lot better, but usually it's that day I have to kind of walk and like work it out.
Wow. Okay. I hope this helps your toe and you can dance and enjoy all that. All right. So I'm going to rub here on these points at your chest, so to speak, on me, but I want you to do that because I don't want you to check out on me while we talk about it to get your toe better. So I need you to say, I forgive myself for believing.
For believing
that I can't love my dad.
That I can't love my dad.
Without feeling frustrated.
Without feeling frustrated.
Because when I was 5.
Because when I was 5.
I hurt myself.
I hurt myself.
On his trap.
On his trap.
And And he didn't even seem to make a big deal about it.
And he didn't even seem to make a big deal about it.
He didn't make me feel better about it.
He did not make me feel better about it.
In fact, he may have made me feel guilty about it.
In fact, he may have made me feel guilty about it.
Because he himself felt guilt.
Because he himself felt guilty.
That I got hurt.
That I got hurt.
And it was really his fault.
And it was really his fault.
And then breathe. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
For believing.
For believing.
That I can't, well, that I'm not worthy of love.
That I am not worthy of love.
Because I got hurt because I made my dad feel bad when I got hurt.
Because I made my dad feel bad when I got hurt.
Right, and then breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That I can't remember.
That what?
I can't be loved.
That I can't be loved.
Without feeling.
Without feeling.
Unworthy.
Unworthy.
Because I made my dad feel bad getting hurt on his trap.
Because I made my dad feel bad about getting hurt on his trap.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That I can't feel worthy of love.
That I cannot feel worthy of love.
Because I made my dad feel bad.
Because I made my dad feel bad.
Because my accident was his fault.
Because my accident was his fault.
Because I got hurt.
Because I got hurt.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That I can't be worthy of love.
I can't be worthy of love.
From people I love.
From people that I love.
If something they do hurts me.
If something that they do hurts me.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That I had to take on my dad's unworthiness.
That I had to take on my dad's unworthiness.
His feeling of guilt.
Of what? I'm sorry?
Guilt.
Of guilt.
His feeling of guilt.
The feeling of guilt.
And unworthiness.
And unworthiness.
Because he felt so bad about me, about him causing this injury.
Because he felt so bad about causing this injury.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing.
That I have to be responsible.
That I have to be responsible.
For any pain someone I love causes to me.
Any pain that someone I love
causes me.
Causes me.
That I have to take on responsibility.
That I have to take on responsibility.
When someone I love causes pain to me.
When someone I love causes pain to me.
And then breathe. Because I don't want my dad to feel unworthy.
Because I don't want my dad to feel unworthy.
I don't want to make him feel blamed.
I don't want him to feel what?
Shamed. I want him to love me
Shamed.
so bad.
I
Yeah.
want him to
I
love
want
me.
him,
Yes.
and I'm afraid if he feels shame, he'll never love me.
Right.
Yeah. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing.
my dad feels shamed, he'll never love me.
Shame that he'll never love me.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I have to take responsibility
I have to take responsibility
for the hurt that people I love may cause in my life.
the people that I hurt may
The-
cause, the people that I love
no.
may cause hurt in my life.
My life, that I have to always be responsible for anything harsh they do to me.
Yes.
Yeah, so I forgive myself for believing
So I forgive myself for believing
that I have to take responsibility for what for the hurt that my dad caused to me because of that trap.
that the hurt that my dad caused me because of that trap.
And then breathe.
I'm going to turn on the light.
Yeah,
going.
that's good. So that he loves me.
He loves me.
So that he loves me. Yeah, and then breathe. I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Even though at age 5,
Even though at age 5,
I wanted my dad's love so much
I wanted my dad's love so much
that I took all the responsibility for getting hurt by his trap.
that I took all the responsibility of getting hurt by his trap.
Even though as an adult, he really was responsible.
Even though as an adult, he really was responsible.
So, yeah, so I carried the load of not shame, I carried the load of responsibility that belonged to him.
Yes.
So I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for believing I have to carry the load of responsibility that belonged to my dad.
for carrying the responsibility,
For believing
that I carry the responsibility,
the load of responsibility that my dad couldn't handle.
right.
And that I have to do that for every person I'm around.
Yes.
Yes, because I didn't want my dad to feel upset and bad because I got hurt on his trap.
Yes.
I didn't want him to feel bad. That's why I take this load. So I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for believing that I have to constantly, chronically
that I have to constantly and chronically
take the load of responsibility off of every person I love
take the load of responsibility off of every single person that I love
so that they will love me.
so that they will love me.
So they will feel worthy.
So they will feel worthy.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing I have to make my dad feel worthy.
I have to forgive myself for
Believing
believing that I
have to make my dad feel worthy or I will never be worthy.
right.
Because if he's not worthy and I came from him, I'm never going to be worthy.
Right.
So I've got to make him worthy. And so you're exhausting yourself taking responsibility from other people, you know, not even because they can't handle it, it's because my dad couldn't handle it. And I'm still trying to make my dad worthy. So I forgive myself for believing my dad wasn't worthy.
I forgive myself for believing that my dad wasn't worthy.
And then breathe. I forgive my dad for believing he wasn't worthy.
I forgive my dad for believing that he wasn't worthy.
And then breathe. Yeah. I forgive myself for holding on to making my dad worthy.
I forgive myself for holding on to trying
To make him feel worthy
make him feel worthy.
by taking all the blame for that injury.
For taking all the blame of that injury.
Even though I was 5 and he shouldn't have had that thing there.
Even though I was
Even
5.
though he really was the blame as an adult.
Yes.
And that didn't make him an unworthy person. It just made him human.
Right. Yes.
Like everybody else.
Yes.
He's going to make mistakes.
Yes.
And then breathe. Oh, it's moving really nicely. You must be coming into your body. All right. So without this, or I'm going to say, I give my dad permission to forgive me.
I give my dad permission to forgive me.
For for feeling responsible for his bad feelings.
For feeling responsible for his own bad feelings.
That 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 I didn't think he could handle.
That I didn't think he could handle.
And then breathe. I give my dad permission to forgive me.
I give my dad permission to forgive me.
For being so badly injured.
For being so badly injured.
And you know, that here's what happened. You're the one who's really injured, but everybody's going, oh, we don't want him to feel bad. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
So I'm trying to put that in words right now. So so your 5-year-old can get on with it. I forgive my 5-year-old self.
I forgive my 5-year-old self.
For taking the blame so my dad would feel worthy.
Taking the blame so my dad would feel worthy.
And then breathe. I forgive my 5-year-old self for getting hurt.
I forgive my 5-year-old self for getting hurt.
And then breathe. I give my 5-year-old self permission.
I give my 5-year-old self permission
to let go of her frustration.
To let go of her frustration.
And to let go of her need for dad to feel worthy.
To let go of the need for her dad to feel worthy.
Yeah. And then breathe. Wow. I'm just letting it move a little here. Because it has this trauma, that big toe trauma. Without this pattern.
Without this pattern?
Yes, I am free.
I am free.
To completely heal this foot injury.
To completely heal this foot injury.
I don't need this foot pain anymore.
I don't need this foot pain any longer.
To remind me
To remind me
that my dad doesn't feel worthy.
that mom and dad, they don't
No,
feel
that
worthy.
my dad
So that my dad doesn't feel worthy.
and so I can't either.
So I can't either.
And then breathe. That without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I don't need this toe pain to remind me that I'm still not worthy.
I do not need this toe pain to remind me that I'm still not worthy.
And then breathe. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I don't need this toe pain
I don't need this toe pain
to remind me
to remind me
that I have to take responsibility
that I have to take responsibility
for the hurt
for the hurt
that another person causes in my life.
that another person causes in my life.
And then breathe. Yeah. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for creating a pattern in my life.
for forgiving,
No,
For-
for creating
for creating a pattern in my life
where I automatically take responsibility
where I automatically take responsibility
for the hurt that another person causes in my life,
that for the hurt that another person causes in my life,
so that so that I don't have to feel the loss of my dad saying I love you.
so I don't have to feel the loss of my dad
Loss
saying he loves me.
saying I love you. And I'm sorry I put that out there, and it's gonna be okay. Yeah. Like I
Yes.
never got to hear that, and it feels so painful to that child to not get that. So I would rather have the toe pain to remind me, to distract me, kind of like an obsessive pattern that I don't want to think about my dad not saying I love you.
Right.
That's too painful. So what you've done is you've created a pattern where I immediately, and this is a terrible pattern because it means that anybody who's up for hurting you and not taking responsibility is going to line up to be part of your life. So, and you have created this pattern. Here's how I keep from feeling the pain that my dad couldn't say I love you, and the pain that my dad didn't know how to care for me when I got hurt, and the pain that he seemed to like my sister better, and even when I got hurt he wasn't really sure what to do with me. I don't want to think about that pain, so I will take responsibility for people who hurt me, and I'll be in that exhausting cycle where I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to be better. Maybe if I do this, they won't hurt me. Maybe I did that, that's why they hurt me. You're in an obsessive pattern. It's not going to allow you to make any money because it's not even about prosperity for you. It's about, I need something that distracts me so so that I don't have to feel the loss of my dad's love. I mean, that's what's going on. So I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for creating a pattern
for creating a pattern
just so I wouldn't have to feel. Just so I wouldn't have to feel
just so I wouldn't have to feel
the pain of the loss of the loss of my dad's love.
the pain and the loss of my dad's love.
The love that seemed missing to me.
the love that seemed missing to me.
That really hurt.
That really hurt.
And all I got was a toe injury
Yes.
to remind me that my dad loved me.
To remind me that my dad loved me.
And that was only because I took responsibility for it.
That's because I took the responsibility.
He didn't. He couldn't.
He didn't.
He couldn't. And then he didn't allow him to have a close relationship because it just felt so unworthy.
Right. Right.
Like my sister's the one who goes up and tells him how great he is. But me, I go up and say, look, I busted my foot on your trap. You can't handle it, right? It's like, so I'm never going to get his love. So I forgive myself for holding on.
I forgive myself for holding on.
To all the love my dad didn't know how to give.
For holding on to
all
the love
my dad couldn't give
that my dad could not give
or didn't know how to give.
or didn't know how to give.
All the missing love in my life, I forgive myself for holding on.
I forgive myself for holding on to all the missing love in my life.
And then breathe. Now I need you to put your hand up here and hold it at your collarbone. And you can rub or you can just hold those points right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Without this missing love.
Without the love,
Yeah. I can stop being responsible.
I can stop being responsible
For the hurt.
The hurt.
Or that people I love have caused in my life.
For the people that I love have caused in my life.
Yeah, I can let go of being responsible.
I can let go
Of being responsible for the hurt people have caused.
People have caused.
People caused in my life.
What was the last part?
People I love have caused in my life.
People that I love have caused in my life.
Without feeling like a child who never got her father's love. Without feeling
like a child who never got her father's love.
Yeah.
Yes.
I let go of all the love I couldn't get.
I let go of all the love that I could not get.
And that opens up space for me to receive.
And that opens up space for me to receive.
And be worthy of.
And be worthy of.
All the love that is there for me right now.
All the love that is there for me right now.
And all the love that my dad did give me.
And all the love my dad did give me.
Even if he couldn't use his words.
Even if he couldn't use his words.
And then breathe. All right. This is like, I don't know if it's being noisy here or, all right. So how do you feel?
I feel good. That makes a lot of sense.
I felt shifted a lot. It's kind of amazing how how I'm telling you that this behavior of you overgiving, what you're overgiving, you're actually, I think somebody's speaker is on besides us. That's why we're getting that noise. But anyway,
Sorry.
what you're overgiving is, I mean, where was I going? I'm distracted by noise. Okay.
It is noisy. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. What you're over giving is a distractive measure that keeps you from feeling the pain of never having your dad say, I love you.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it's about. And once you catch on to that and you catch yourself doing it, you have to be like, I would rather think about the pain I have felt in my life because my dad didn't say I love you and because I got hurt and he didn't know how to handle it. And it was really hard for me. I'd rather think about that than have the token. I'd rather think about that and over concern myself with the fear that somebody else in my life is also not going to say I love you no matter how much I give to them. And I don't want that to happen.
Yes.
So it's a pattern. The reason it's been hard to get rid of is because it's been structured to protect you from something you've already overcome. Your mind keeps thinking that this pattern, taking responsibility for the hurt over and over and over, feeling bad. Does anybody know what that noise is? I'm like, sure, it's not mine.
God.
It's not yours, is it?
It's every time you speak.
Okay. Well, maybe it's coming from something in my microphone. Anyway, all right. I need to retest. I'm getting in my time. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna do. That is really weird. Okay, so let's see here. We're gonna do, on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm worthy of love from people I love. That's good. Can you think about your pain right now? Can you get it to a 7 in your head?
Okay.
Can you feel it at a 7?
No, it's better.
What in your head when you think about it, as hard as it gets, what number does it?
I think it's went down to at least a 3.
Yay! Okay. Can you mess with it and make it hurt?
Can I mess with what?
Can you mess with your toe and see if you can make it hurt?
Yeah, that's what I was doing when it went down to a 3.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yes.
Good. Good.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm worthy of love from people I love. And then the subjective belief of distress, that is a 0. Stage 6. So 6 is light emerging. So you did that memory a whole lot, and it brought you back down into your body. Anyway, I do think that's going to make a difference. It should help you with your sense of worthiness. You haven't been able to ever accomplish. It's been this chronic self-love worthy problem because you've been so wrapped up in dad.
Right. Right.
Because somewhere in your psyche you thought, I have to be worthy before I can be worthy. And that's like a never-ending thing. It's never going to happen.
Right.
I have to acknowledge he's already worthy and so am I, but not because he had the perfect situation so he didn't get hurt, but because God made him worthy.
That's right.
I mean, that's why. All right, let me go over here and I'm gonna look at our Sherry said my audio. Everybody's trying to find. I wonder if there's a sound loop. I may have needed to put on a put on a headset, and I'll try that. I can bring them in here, or I would have plugged them in.
It didn't get in, so.
It didn't what?
It didn't get bad till the end, and it's better now than it was a little bit ago.
Oh, good. And Sherry said her audio was off, and then she's back, and she lost connection at some point. Linda, so Linda took notes. You'll be able, or not Linda, Sherry took notes. Audio is feeding at the same time and trying to complete. Okay. Oh, so Natasha's saying we're both feeding out at the same time, and that's what's causing it. They're canceling each other out. So you know what? It just means the next time I do this, I will make sure I have a headset so that it won't be doing that. Anyway, it still worked out good for you, and I'm really happy. Linda will, I think if you give your email, Linda can send you the transcript, or notes
Okay.
that Sherry. So if you want to look it over and go, what happened?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Cynthia said you could hear the typing. You know what? It turned out she was typing the whole time. And yeah, everybody's here. Thanks, Christiva. That was fantastic.
Thanks, Dr.
Annette.
Annette. Dr. Annette.
Yes, you're welcome. And that was a really amazing session. I'm really glad that you were able to do that, because it really it explained why, how much you work on worthiness, you feel like, why am I still like this? I'm a decent human being. I shouldn't feel this way, or I shouldn't keep going back to that.
Right.
And allowing that to actually define what my experience with others and in the world is. That it's not validating that I'm worthy, it's validating that unworthiness I seem to keep carrying. And yeah, so, but I do think that people, you have to really pay attention to not take responsibility and apologize for the hurt that somebody else did to you. It's not your job to apologize for what they did to you.
Right.
So it's some sort of feedback. Yeah, all right, I got the feedback. Let me see if anybody else, let's see, wants to pop on. I'm at 9:12. Oh wow. Well, most people. I don't know if anybody has any questions. No questions. And it's just So I may also be able to send you a copy of this video email. So if you wanted to look at it again, you could. Like a video. You get as well. Okay. All right. And tomorrow, you are welcome. Tomorrow, Sherry Hamilton is going to do this at 1:30 on Wednesday. It'll be going on again. 1:30. There she is. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, I don't want to keep you up too late. It'd be done. Thank you so much, Christiva. That was a beautiful session. And we will try to get you a copy in an email where you can go and look at it in the cloud if you want to review. Thank you, Cynthia. Let me see here.
Yeah.